Hey there, listeners. Welcome to Hines on Air, your weekly dose of inspiration, motivation, and real-life entrepreneurial stories. I'm Matt Hines, your host, and I'm excited to have you join me on this journey. From building a successful law firm to venturing into other industries like real estate and social media, I've experienced both the triumphs and the challenges that come with entrepreneurship. I've learned firsthand the importance of resilience, adaptability, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. On Hines on Air, we're diving deep into the world of business, law, and personal growth. Join me as I chat with incredible guests who have faced adversity, defied expectations, and achieved extraordinary success. We'll discuss their strategies, their mindset, and the lessons they've learned along the way. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply someone looking for a little inspiration, Hines on Air is for you. Remember to subscribe, like, and leave a review whenever you listen to podcasts. Your support helps us reach more people and continue sharing these incredible stories. Let's get started.
Hello, everybody. It is Matt Hines. We're back with another Hines on Air. And, of course, we have another super fantastic episode for you today. Mr. Red Taylor is in the house. How you doing, Red?
Doing great, Matt. Thanks. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, man.
All
Good.
right.
So Red's a very powerful personality, accomplished a lot in his life. And he's got his own podcast, the Red Hot Read, which everybody can listen to. I listen to them. They're very interesting information.
Thanks, man.
So, yes, sir. So how's everything going?
Everything's going great, brother. I'm blessed. I'm highly favored. I'm glad to be here. I appreciate you having me on your show, and looking forward to creating a lot of good content. Hopefully help some people and creates value, man.
Yeah. Well, I think you got a lot to offer. I know, so I've read you got a successful insurance company, right?
Yes, I do. I've been an independent insurance broker for about 25 years now, mainly focused in health insurance, life insurance. Our specialization is working with folks who are self-employed, run small businesses, kind of like we do. There's always a pain. You know, insurance is a thorn in everybody's side. Health insurance, if you look at folks as the average family's budget, their health insurance is usually the number two expense right behind their mortgage.
Yeah.
Every business out there, their number two expense right behind their payroll is their health insurance. And you know, we've got the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare. So there's so much going on in the industry. Not a lot of people like to talk about it. It's kind of a boring, topic. It makes for boring podcast content, but it's important to people, especially when they need it.
That's exactly right. So we do a lot of, here we go, excuse me real quick. We do, our law firm does a lot of accident help.
Okay.
So we're dealing with insurance companies all the time.
All the time.
And it's one of those things where you can complain about them, but you need them to make the world go round. So it's a love-hate relationship, because without those insurance policies, our company would stop and people wouldn't really recover anything. But sometimes when you're trying to ask them or make a request, they're a little bit difficult to deal with. So
yeah, they are difficult. They are difficult to deal with. And over my career, the one thing that I've realized is that, insurance companies don't run around and have halos on their head. They're not angels, okay? They are for-profit companies, and they're in it to make money. And so, what I've always encouraged my clients is if you want to have an opportunity to come out ahead with insurance, buy your insurance the same way that insurance companies do. Okay. Go away from benefits, protect yourself from the big stuff. Okay. Get your costs down as low as you can and pay the small stuff out of pocket. Okay. If you can save $500, $600, $700 a month over the course of 12 years, that's, $6,000, $7,000. Do that for 10 years. All right. And you're coming ahead. That's the way insurance companies buy insurance on us. Okay. They'll hire administrators to come in and handle all the little small stuff. And they'll go to Lords of London or some other company and they'll say, hey, we've got a company over here. They've got 1,000, employees or whatever, whatever the number is. We want to cover, let's say, the first $25 million a year. Okay.
Yeah.
And then after 25 million, we want you to cover it. Right. And so they'll self-insure to that 25 million, and then they'll have a reinsurance over that. And who's got the tallest building in every big city in America? Insurance companies.
Yeah.
Okay. In fact, if you look at the largest health insurer on the planet, which is United Health Insurance, at the beginning of the Affordable Care Act, this is a crazy stat. And I sell and I'm appointed with United Healthcare. We do a lot of it. It's a really good company for a lot of people. But at the beginning of the Affordable Care Act, and we're talking specifically health insurance, what everybody loves to talk about, their stock was trading at a $33, $35 a share. Okay. Here we are 12 years later that the Affordable Care Act has been in place and it's been sold to help the everyday American, all that good stuff. You know what United Healthcare was trading this morning when I looked at it?
150.
$585 a share. Okay. Do the math on that. How many thousands of percentage of a gain is that over the course of 12 years from 35 to 585?
Yeah.
Now, good for them.
Yeah.
They made, the purpose of business. I tell people this all the time. There's only one true purpose of business that remains consistent, period, point blank in the story, and that's to make a profit, right? And so if that's the purpose of United Healthcare is to make a profit, then they've done a really good job of it, I think. Their shareholders are really, really happy. But to the average American, what that can tell us is, how are they doing that? Well, how do they buy their insurance on us? And the way that they do it is to go away from the little knick-knack benefits and make sure that they've got the big stuff covered, and then they reinsure over that.
I don't know that I follow. Okay, you say forget the benefits. What does that mean?
So great question, Matt. And what I've learned is that, I think as Americans, we've been programmed as specific to our health insurance. Now, and this is, health insurance is really political. It's really complicated, and not a lot of people understand it. I mean, it is frustrating to most folks. Okay.
Yeah.
It is a high pain scenario, high pain topic. But to your question, if we look at the big picture, most people expect out of their health insurance to be able to go to the doctor, give them their card, pay a $20, $30, $40 copay, whatever happens that day, it to be covered, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That's what people expect. That's
right.
what they want. They want to be able to go get a prescription and pay a, $5, $10 copay for a generic and a $40 copay for a brand name. Okay. And not have to pay anything else. That's what most people desire. If they need to go get a testing, a small procedure, an MRI, CT, x-rays, things like that, then I think most people are okay paying $75, $100 and having the rest of it covered. Okay. That's expectation. And then if they go into the hospital and they have to have some kind of surgery, some bigger medical procedures, think about this. Okay. You deal with accidents and stuff like that. Generally, for a vehicle, if we get in a vehicle accident, there's a set amount of money that an insurance company pays. Well, it's a $30,000 vehicle. We're going to pay $30,000 for it, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, what's the value on a human life? You know that really well. Okay. Who sets that value? Well, it's arbitrary. Okay. And when we get into medical scenarios, how much does an insurance company, how much are they on the hook to pay to save a human life, to treat a human life? Okay. We're talking about, there are significant acute medical procedures out there. Yeah. The science, the biology, the medical field is really, really good these days. Okay. Americans are living longer than ever before, but they're living with diseases more than ever before, maintainable diseases. Okay. We've got extremely technical and difficult medical procedures and technology that is available to us now. Well, that means it's extremely expensive. Well, who pays that? Well, insurance companies do. That's right. Okay. So we don't pay that. I mean, if I needed to go in and have an acute heart condition taken care of, or they had to cut some of my, intestines out and replace it with some other type of, substance to be able to maintain my life. Well, how many millions of dollars is that going to cost? Okay. And who pays that? Well, I'm not writing a check for $1 million, $2 million for the 30 days that I spent the cardiac ICU unit or what have you. Okay. Insurance companies pay that. And so while we have a really negative connotation and a really negative impression of insurance companies because we pay them so much dang money. Okay. Buddy, when the rubber meets the road and we are sick and our mamas are sick and our kids are sick and they need to go down to the cancer center or that cardiac center or whatever, man, we need those insurance companies to pay those medical bills for us.
Right.
Okay. And it's been my job and my mission, professionally in my company to teach people what I think is the best way to buy health insurance. That's just go with higher deductibles, cut out all the small stuff, save you money, focus on the big stuff.
That's been my thing, major medical, and I hopefully can deal with the rest.
Yeah. Because they're not covering everything anyway. Okay. I mean, if you look at the average deductible now, and this is I don't know how we got on all this insurance stuff, but it's a natural conversation.
Right.
And it seems like you're interested in it. So I'll keep talking about it. It might be the only thing I'm good at. No. But now, the average deductible, we put somebody on the Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare marketplace, the average deductible right now is like $18,000. Okay.
The
And
average deductible.
yes. So we're getting all of these, federal subsidies to come in and pay for people's health care, which makes it, for a lot of people, like if you're a family and you make less than, $75,000, $80,000 a year and you need to buy your own health insurance, you can get really cheap insurance on the marketplace. Okay. Because taxpayers fund the subsidies that pay for a dramatic part of the monthly premium. Okay. Well, what happens is that because of that, the deductibles are exorbitant. I'm talking literally $17,000, $18,000, $19,000 deductibles. And you have HMOs, which means that your doctors' networks, not a lot of doctors want to take it, not a lot of hospitals, facilities, things like that. And so you're kind of pinched into the medical specialist and facilities that you can go to utilize when you need the care.
Gotcha. Interesting, man. I've always wondered the relationship because we talk about these high costs from the hospital.
Yeah.
And we've got the insurance companies raising their premiums because there's a high cost at the hospital. And I've always wondered what the relationship is between a hospital or the medical industry and the insurance companies. It's almost like they play ball together because if the cost of the treatment goes up, then insurance companies can say, well, I could charge more of my premium. And then if the premium costs go up, the medical providers can say, well, we can charge more for our service. And then it seems like we got this little the back and forth play. I don't know.
It's a racket. It really is. And
no.
Well, I'll be, I can just be transparent. I don't agree with that system. Okay. I think that we need transparency in medical billing and medical coding. So it's way too complicated. We've got the IRS tax code that's about 70,000 pages long and nobody understands it. And then we've got medical coding and medical billing. Nobody understands how that happens. Like, how can the procedure cost, let's just say $1,000 at this facility and $10,000 at that facility for the same procedure through the same insurance company? Don't make any sense.
No.
Does not make sense. Okay. No. And I am for profit. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I'm a capitalist at heart. I came from nothing. Nobody's ever given me anything. I've been, very, very fortunate and I've, been successful in business for a long time. But in these types of scenarios, people need some transparency to figure out, hey, can I pay $1,000 here versus $10,000 there? And how do I shop my prices? Nobody knows.
That's right.
Nobody knows.
There was a good interview with Trump the other day. I think he was talking to Theo Vaughn.
Yeah.
Podcaster. And they were discussing Trump apparently had a bill in place. Not a bill, but he had a law in place that required the hospitals to disclose cost.
Post the cost.
And when Biden got it in, they kicked it out.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. You would think that's a very obvious decision. Like, duh, we should tell the guy the MRI cost $1,000. Not surprising with a bill next month that shows he owes $15,000.
Yeah. Think about this, man. We'll shop for a car, the best price on a car for months. Okay. Man, you'll look on Amazon. We'll look on Best Buy. We'll look on every website there is for a flat screen to save $20.
That's right.
Okay. I mean, where you shopping a pair of shoes or whatever, a sofa. Okay. But nobody shops the price of their medical procedures. Okay. Yeah. Nobody realized that you can go there's a building 2 down from here, right here in Atlanta, where I can go walk in and pay them $450 to get an MRI of my right knee if I want to. Okay. Right. But if I go to the hospital, that same MRI is going to cost me $2,500.
Yep.
Okay. And I have no clue. I'm giving them my insurance card when I walk in. All right. And I'm thinking, because most people think this, that they go get that MRI because what did their doctor tell them? Doctor told them you're going to have an MRI. I need an MRI. So, okay, I'm going to go get an MRI. Okay. I'm going to go to that facility over there. I'm going to give them a card. I'm going to pay the $40 copay. I'm going to go get the MRI. And then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, I'm going to get a bill for $2,500. Mm-hmm. Okay. I ain't got $1,000 in the bank extra after I've paid all my bills.
That's right.
What are the statistics? What is it? 84% of all Americans do not have an extra $1,000 in their bank account at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And then we're hitting them with $2,500 MRI because they don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know. Right. And as you can see, I'm kind of passionate about this, but the reason that I'm passionate about it is because I have seen how so many people have been fleeced out of their money. How, Dave Ramsey has said over the last 70 years in America, Matt, get this stat. Probably most people don't know this. Over the last 70 years in America, you know what the number one cause for bankruptcy is, personal bankruptcy?
Medical bills or divorce.
Unpaid medical bills.
Yeah.
Unpaid medical bills. Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Okay. And like 94% of American citizens have health insurance. But the number one cause of bankruptcy is unpaid medical bills. So we've got a really, wide gap of what is of education in this really important sector of our life.
What's happening there? There's deductibles too high. Like, how could that be if it's all insured?
Yeah, and I wish I had all the answers. What I do know now is as a society, we're in a scenario where inflation is rampant. Okay, we're extreme inflation. Okay, personal debt, family debt is at an all-time high right now. Okay, credit card debt is at an all-time high. Credit card interest rates are at an all-time high. Delinquencies at an all-time high, and personal and family savings is at an all-time low. I think if you look at the last Great Recession of 2008, right, the housing crash, all that stuff, some of the differences that were going on at that point in time is that personal family saving was statistically like 9.2%. Okay, people were saving 9% of their income, right? Well, today it's reported by our federal government that it's at 3.4%. So we're 3 times less than it was during the last Great Recession or housing market crash.
Wow.
Okay. Well, let's look at the debt, okay? The debt from that point in time has exacerbated almost 4 times as much, all right? We also have a sovereign debt, which are, our national debt for our government. We're sitting at a little over $35 trillion. Man, brother, I don't understand what $1 trillion is.
No.
I can't grab my head is not smart enough to even get close to what that is. Heck, dude, we're adding $1 trillion every 90 days onto the deficit. Okay, the interest payment is $3 billion a day.
Right.
So, where we are right now as a nation is in a pretty catastrophic state with our finances. And then we add on top of that, when Dad got sick and had to go into the hospital, it cost me $19,000, and they ain't got it.
Yeah.
Everybody's got it. What credit card do they pull it from?
That's right.
So, I think we're in a scenario where there's a lot of messes that have to be cleaned up. And it means in our personal lives, in our family, we have to get our financial houses in order. Okay. We have to start. Dad's got to step up to the plate, man. We got to start taking control, taking charge and leading our families in a better way. How in the world does Dad not understand what is health insurance coverage? How does Mom not getting involved and helping push Dad? Say, Dad, you said I do. You said that you were going to do this for our family, okay? And I've joined arms with you, and I believe in you, okay? So I need you to be that leader for our family. Dude, I'll get on this stuff. I'm passionate about this stuff, man. And so what I'm seeing it do to families over and over again, you can probably relate, in your field. I mean, you see families come in bad situations.
When you're financially stressed, there's no part of life that's fun.
Where's your peace?
Yeah, that's right.
Where do you find your peace?
Envelops everything going, whether it's with your kids or
on
it's hard to enjoy things. So you're right. You got to handle that financial aspect.
Yeah, you got to. So, and I think it causes so many other problems with folks as far as, not only are they not, peaceful in their regular life, but you had the advent of health issues. Stress creates health issues.
Yeah. And
so it's just a big ball of negativity and turmoil and crap that continues to pile on people.
And it's I think this presidential debate right now is bringing a lot of corruption and stuff, whether they're slinging mud or whatever. The issues discussed does bring a lot of things to the surface. And it's hard. Certainly healthcare, whatever it is one of those areas where needs help. It's recognized we need help and correction, but there's so many vested interests in it. It is daunting how it could ever be changed. Just to where I don't know how you feel about Bobby Kennedy. One of his pushes is to help the health of children, to alter the food sources or make sure. And I think that's brilliant, but it cuts into the profit of so many large corporations that it's tough. We recently did this. My wife and I did this. This was exciting because I'm a big fan of supplements, vitamins, whether it's eating right or whatnot. And we just did this, you go into a store and you buy whatever, vitamin D because you want stronger whatever. Or you look at, okay, I want this supplement because I want a healthy heart or whatever. It all looks great.
Sure.
And I've done it, and maybe it affected something, maybe not. But then we just did a blood test, and the blood test came back, and it tells you what you're deficient in.
Right.
And now that's a little more guidance than just picking out these fun things at the grocery store. And we did that, and it has been amazing. And I swear, if America could do something like that, let's take a blood test, find what we're deficient in, and take the right supplements, we'd avoid so much of the crap. But there's not a lot of money in it.
No money in the cure. There's no money in the cure. And so, I'm right along with you, man. I'll be 52 in October, and my health is extremely important to me. I take a handful of supplements every day. And brother, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what's working and what ain't working, but there's a placebo effect to it. Okay.
Right.
I mean, I'm 100% convinced that these supplements keep me from getting sick. And man, thank God above, I haven't been sick, and I don't know when. I mean, it's been years and years. I mean, even back during the crazy, lockdown, the pandemic, whatever you want to call it, which or however you want to see that, I never took any kind of vaccines. I never closed my business down. I considered myself essential, and I never got sick. Okay. Wow. And none of my family. Okay. No,
I'm not trying to call you.
No, I did. No, I got it one time. Okay. This is the God's honest truth. So I'm getting ready to go to work one morning. I come home from the gym. I got out of the shower, and I'm in there, and so I've got this perfume. I'm getting ready to go to work, and I got this cologne, and I take the cologne, I spray it on my hands, I put it on my face. I'm going. It was like a prod or something like that. It was really loud, and I go grab something else, and about that time I was like, I don't even smell that. So I grabbed my cologne bottle and I shook it up. Seriously, like shaking it up was going to do something. And I sprayed it in my hands, and I put it in my hands. I said, son of a gun.
Oh, wow.
And I had, a lady that works for me was like 56, 57 at the time, type 2 diabetic. So I called my staff and I was like, hey, guys, I'm pretty sure I got it. I'm going to go get tested for Renee. And sure enough, I went in there, bang, got tested, and it came back. So I stayed home for 7 days, I think it was. And I kept going, I've got a gym in my house, kept working out every day, kept going on, my cardio and me and my dogs and whatever, so I never, thank God, got sick. But I'm telling you, I was pumping myself full of vitamin D3, full of zinc, full of quercetin, a strong regimen of immune building supplements. Okay. I wanted to be proactive. Once I saw this crazy stuff going down, I started reading and researching. It's like, man, what do I got to do to build myself, immune system? Then thankfully I've always been a relatively healthy guy to begin with, but I started, just getting crazy over the top, and I'm still doing that today. And, I say it's working. I don't get sick. So, but going back to your point about as far as the debate and, Bobby Kennedy, I think that he has brought so much awareness to what's going on in America as far as our food, the chemicals that they're putting in our food, really it's poison, man.
Yeah.
We are being poisoned by our food sources. Okay.
That's right.
If you're eating processed foods, then there is a substance of poison in those, and nobody even knows it. We don't read the ingredients. Okay. We all just trust the FDA to be able to look out on our better half. Because, Jerry's got to go to work, man. He woke up this morning at 6 a.m., took a shower, kissed his wife and kids goodbye, jumped in the car, and drove 45 minutes to an hour to his job. He ain't going to get home tonight till 6:30.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And he's got to do that every single day.
Yeah.
Right. Until Friday afternoon, he gets Saturday, Sunday off, and boy, he's dreading Monday morning again. So, everybody in America is so dialed in to surviving their own existence, to their own rat race, to whatever it is that they, have going on, that they don't have enough time, bandwidth, energy to go and do the research that it takes to find out exactly truly what's going on with our food sources, who allowed all these substances and these chemicals and these poisons in the food sources.
And the data's suppressed, in my opinion, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not readily available.
You would think, I remember I did a research, this is different, but it's, I think, same motive is if you go and type in number of deaths from COVID vaccine, just, if you want that information, you will Google to the next page and the next page, and you might find, I was able to find data in Europe, but nothing. It is suppressed. And I would imagine health issues in America, the causes, aspartame, whatever it is suppressed as well.
Right, which is crazy. Like, why would I not want to ask that question?
Yeah.
They'll cancel you.
Yeah.
You'll get ridiculed. You'll get blackballed. Like, if you and I were on network news right now, we'd never be asked. They'd shut us down. They'd shut the cameras off, and they would never ask us back. They would go to a commercial news segment. We're absolutely canceled. Okay. Oh, why wouldn't you want to ask that question? Like, is my government really putting poisonous chemicals in our food sources? I mean, is that not? As an American, we're free Americans. Shouldn't we want to know that?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, did the vaccine actually cause, all-cause mortality to increase? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Right.
But wouldn't we want to know that answer?
Absolutely.
Okay? What about childhood vaccinations? Like, why have childhood vaccinations gone from, like, I don't know, 8 of them back in like 1972 to what is it now, like 80 something before the age of 6? And have childhood vaccinations, the increase of childhood, have they caused the autistic, the autism, the spectrum to go crazy over the years? I don't know.
Well, we just had this discussion because my first child's not vaccinated. I am, but I'm from a generation where you didn't question it all.
Yeah.
My parents just did.
Yeah, me too.
Look,
Yeah.
My first child, he's 12, he's not. And my wife and I now are discussing, should our 2-year-old get vaccinated?
Oh.
I am not anti, but I am very suspect. She is more, no, we should do it because doctors we trust recommend it.
Right.
And we were having this discussion with the doctors, and this is a nice lady. I didn't see her as with an agenda or anything. And she's saying, no, you should get them all. And I'm like, well, what do you say about the kids who can't speak well and whose personality is now shut down because they had a vaccine? And she's, well, the benefits outweigh the risk, but it's like you said, there's just not a whole lot of research, not a whole lot of information about it. And people will answer the autism question where, oh, everybody knows that's debunked. I'm like, bull, it's not debunked.
Where's the data?
Where's the data? That's right. Yeah.
Okay. That's a great point. I was actually talking to a buddy of mine a couple of days ago. He's a doctor, and I've been, pretty adamant about this stuff. I've gone down, the rabbit hole as soon as all the shutdowns happened back in March of 2020. My wife and I, we got 6 children.
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, it's crazy.
Okay.
Yeah. But we have a good time. Blended family, putting it all together. We can do a whole nother show on that, how to blend a family, Brady Bunch, 3 and 3. So, but we, thank God we do, we've got a lot of peace, and harmony in our family. So she's the leader of that for sure. Stephanie, thank you, baby. But so I started really researching and, pulling back the curtains and trying to figure out really what was going on all this. And I've been telling my buddy Matt, who's a doctor, for a long time. I was like, man, this stuff, this is what's going on. I think these vaccinations are putting, these spike proteins, mRNA, IgG4s, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, he was talking, he says, Red, he said, I've never seen it. He said, dude, it is summertime. And we've got people, we're admitting people with pneumonia. We're admitting people with lung disorders, with, all this stuff. I've never seen it in 25 years of being a doctor. And it's all starting to come to light, and nobody's allowed to talk about it. Nobody in the hospitals, nobody in the profession. And he said, look, it's almost like, because you and I know that docs, okay, are A-type, right? I mean, they think they're smart. They've done the work. They put it, as a lawyer, you put in the work, right? Y'all put in the work. Okay. And so it's hard, for a lay person to convince you that you're not right. When you've done all the work, you've got all these years of practice, you've got all this experience, and now there's all this new stuff coming about. And in order to change courses, number one, you have to go against the leadership. You have to go against organizational control.
Yeah.
But number two, and maybe more importantly, you got to look yourself in the mirror and admit you were wrong.
Yeah.
And you didn't get it right.
Well, the scary part, you saw with COVID vaccines, and you saw all these tenured professors who were good getting fired because they didn't go with the flow.
Yes.
And say what they were told. And whether they were getting NIH-sponsored money or whatever, or threatened to pull that money. Fauci. That's right. So that revealed a darker side to America at that point. I think it's always been there with COVID. You saw that establishment control sort of emerge its ugly head.
Yes.
And you mentioned earlier the rise in the amount of vaccines that we have now, I think due in large, I think it was 2017, Bobby Kennedy talks a lot about this, and I'm glad he does. The CDC, all the drug companies got immunity. They can no longer be sued if they put out a vaccine that causes death or injury. Like, the hell?
Think about that.
I know. Like, just throw all these drugs in our kids. You can't be sued for that. Nuts.
As a career lawyer, does that even make sense?
Not at all. That is pure bureaucracy and, I mean, corruption at the highest level.
And let's go peel back the curtain a little bit and find out how much money have they made off these vaccines? How much are they making? How many hundreds of billions of dollars are they making all these vaccines? In fact, let's go back to, let's just say December of 2019, January 2020, and let's go look at the stock prices of Pfizer, Merck, Johnson & Johnson. Let's go look at their Moderna. Let's go look at that. And now where are they trading today?
Yeah.
And let's see what the increase is.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's honestly, let's be real. It's about money. Okay. It's about money and control and power. Okay. So, I think that's something that what all this has done, I believe it's caused an awakening. Okay. It has caused an awakening for people like me. I never even knew any of this stuff. I didn't care. I was, running a business, making money, chasing my kids around, playing ball, going on trips and, buying cars and all this, that, and the other, and, doing the deal, man.
That's right.
Okay. When all this stuff happened, boom, listen, they really did shut down the entire global economic system. They shut it down. You couldn't go to work anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. Your mama was in ICU and you couldn't go to the hospital to see your mother die. Okay. You couldn't go to her funeral. That happened. People forget that. Okay. Well, aren't we allowed to ask the question, why?
Right.
Why would we be silenced? Why would we be ostracized by the people that are in charge and making all these rules for asking questions?
And then it gets into a whole nother rabbit hole on why the hell the government would install CIA, FBI, all kinds of plants into the social media companies to stop that flow of information so that we couldn't decide for ourselves. This is what the hell is going on?
Right.
I mean,
It's nuts.
It's nuts.
Well, it's media control. I mean, if you look at and I'm not any kind of expert on this, I've just done, some looking around or whatever, but like, I don't know, the Communist Manifesto, Karl Marx, one of the first things you got to do is take control of the media. Take control of the media.
Yeah.
Okay. Take control of the schools. Okay. Well, who's got control of the media?
Yeah.
I mean,
70% of their funding comes from pharmaceutical companies. That's a number I've heard. I've never read that. That's what's repeated, but I don't doubt it.
I think 90% of that. I had a lady on my show months ago, and she brought the statistics, said that 90% of the media, the mainstream, the big company, NBC, CBS, ABC, those they're all owned by the same 6 companies.
Really?
And it's all the same messaging that's going out. And to your point, when you have government plants, as far as the 3-letter agencies that are in the entrenched in the media, heck, there's a department in the Pentagon that is for media and movie and content production. It's been there for decades. Why? Shouldn't we ask why? Like, why does our government have a department in the Pentagon, which I thought was supposed to be for, national defense and protection of, I don't know, crazy American citizens?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, why do they have a big department that American taxpayers are paying so that they can officially control the narrative in the media and in the movies and what we see?
Yeah.
It doesn't make good sense. Well,
no, it doesn't.
Maybe they're trying to brainwash us and beat us into thinking a certain way.
That to me, and you look at that kind of stuff and that kind of power, and you're like, what do we do about it? And the only thing that makes me feel a little bit better, like we're maybe in some way tilting the balance, is the podcast and the exchange of information like this. Yes. Because if without it, I've talked to the older generation, and you'll say something like, it is possible the CIA had something to do with Kennedy's assassination. And they're like, man, I just can't believe something like that would happen. They can't confront that possibility of that kind of reality. Like, that's too incredible. But some of that stuff, whether it's COVID cover-up, whether it's whatever type of control, it exists.
Well, so, I think when you start, attaching, connecting the dots and connecting the figures that were in play back then, it makes it begs the question:
Yeah.
were they involved? Okay, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
who was the director of the CIA?
That's right.
No, during
When now?
President Kennedy's assassination.
Well, he'd fired Dulles, but he was still in the
So,
back, in the
from what I
shadows.
understand, it was George Bush
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Sr.
Like HW? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was George Bush. Absolutely. Where was he the day that President Kennedy got assassinated? Dallas, Texas. Okay. So, I mean, is that just coincidence? I don't, I mean, and then he became president of the United States. I mean, look at his track record all the way up. And then his son became president under him. And the Bush, the Bush have just a huge dynasty. I think I saw somewhere that, and I loved the Bushes back in the day because all I watched was ABC, CBS, and NBC. That's where you got your news. Dan Rather, you know, at 5:30, 6 o'clock, that was it. That was all of our news. There was no, 24-hour news cycle. I mean, think about how fast news changes right now and how fast news goes. I mean, in reality, in the real world, wasn't it 5-6 weeks ago they shot President Trump in the head? I mean, who talks about that anymore? Like that really did happen.
Right.
On a Saturday afternoon, bro's up there giving a speech to all the people that wanted to come hear him speak, whether you like him, whether you don't like him, whatever it is you think about the guy, okay? He's up there, he's free, he's an American, okay, just like me and you.
Yeah.
He's up there giving a speech to all them people. Somebody tried to shoot that dude, take him out, okay? Nobody's talking about it, okay? Nobody's even talking about it. We had this debate 2 nights ago, whatever it was. I didn't even watch the thing because I knew it was all going to be garbage. But everybody says, well, oh, Kamala won. Oh, Trump won. All this, that, and the other. Who gives a crap? Nobody's going to talk about it in 2 days. It don't matter, okay? Because whatever the Mockingbird media wants to promote, bam, they're pushing it in.
Yeah.
And they're all going to say the same thing over again.
That's right.
And so the people that watch that type of media and they're not dialing in and they're not looking for alternative types of news sources. Look, I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm telling the truth about everything. I don't know if you are, Matt. We just met. I like you. Okay. But I think you're an intelligent guy. And I think that it's clear to me that you ask questions. It's clear to me that you're doing research.
Yeah.
Well, shouldn't everybody?
Yeah.
I mean, we are free Americans, right? Okay. The last time that people in America weren't allowed to read, Abraham Lincoln ended all that with the Emancipation Proclamation of 1865. Okay. And freed the slaves because when you were a slave back then, American slaves, they weren't allowed to read. It was against the law to teach a slave how to read. Wonder why? Because they wanted to control the narrative. They wanted to keep them dumb and ignorant and down. So why do they not want us to ask questions now and learn now what's really going on?
That's
right. The truth. Okay. Because the truth outshines all lies.
That's right.
The truth stands on its own. Okay. The truth doesn't have to be propped up by propaganda. It doesn't have to be propped up by media efforts. It doesn't have to be propped up by all this other bullshit that they're doing.
Yeah.
The truth stands up as a beacon, as a light on its own. Okay. And that's what all of us should be searching for, in my opinion. Okay. And I'm just a regular guy. I'm just a dude trying to figure it out, trying to make it, trying to raise a family, trying to make $100 million in my business, and trying to help people on this podcast to create value so that you can go and live a better life.
Yeah. Amen.
So
I like it, man. And I think the what's optimistic is that the ABCs and the MSNBCs and all that are losing their power. And I think in another 10, 15 years, that viewership will be pretty much gone.
it may not take that long, brother.
It might not take that long.
May not.
But it is going to evolve to the point where it is podcasts, other exchanges of information, and that's exciting.
Yes, it
Because
is.
once they lose that control, it's going back to the people.
Well, and in my humble opinion, what happened to actually, boom, flip the scales to the good side, to the good guys, was actually when Elon Musk bought Twitter.
Right on.
Okay. Because I had a guy named Ivan Rakelin on my show a couple of weeks ago, and Ivan's an ex-military and a Green Beret dude, speaks a ton of language, he's highly intelligent.
Wow.
And he has what's called a deep state. He doesn't say it's a hit list. Anyways, it's basically this, perpetrator list of all these people inside of Twitter, inside the 3-letter agencies, inside the federal government, the White House, who have colluded to lie to the American people and control the narrative. In other words, like, who gave the order to take President Trump off of Twitter on January the 6th? Like, that came from somebody in the White House, okay? Well, that's against our First Amendment right. So that's unconstitutional. And used to, when you broke the law and you went against the Constitution, then you got prosecuted.
That's right.
Okay? And that's what his mission and goal is. He calls it the mother of all Twitter files, what Elon Musk, because Elon did say when he purchased Twitter, when he bought Twitter, he said he bought a crime scene. He said that, okay? Well, fast forward to today, and now information is flowing on Twitter that is far outweighing the mainstream media. You look at Tucker Carlson, for example, okay? Tucker was Fox's number one guy for how long? I mean, I don't know, 8 years? I mean, he was the number one guy, averaging like 3.5 million viewers a night, okay, in their primetime slot. Well, he went against their message. He went against the regime, okay? And the Murdochs, the people that own Fox News, they're not even Americans. It's a joke. So they fired the guy. Well, now he's on Twitter. This bro's getting like 50 million viewers every time he busts a video out. Rightfully so.
Rightfully so,
because
I agree.
He's telling the truth. He's speaking to American people.
Yeah.
The real person,
Yeah.
the you and I, the every man, the every woman that wants to figure out, how are we so screwed up?
Right.
Like, we're supposed to be the beacon. It's supposed to be, America the beautiful. We were the ones that were supposed to go and help all of Europe against the Nazis and against the Stalinist Germany and Hitler Germany and against the Russians and all this and the Japanese and blah blah blah. And really, the more we learn, heck, are we the bad? I mean, are we the bad guys in a lot of this stuff?
That's a hell of a rabbit hole. You're right.
I mean,
sure. And Trump said it. I think he was talking to Bill O'Reilly. He's like, well, they were talking about Putin. And Bill's like, but he's a murderer. And Trump's like, well, we haven't been so good all the time. That's not his words, but basically
something
along
those lines.
We've all done bad things, basically.
Right. And on that note, honestly, ask yourself this. Why do they hate Trump? Why do they hate Trump so bad? Okay. And, they really do hate Trump. They tried to kill the dude. Okay. They tried to shoot him. And I pray that he makes it to November the 5th and to January the 20th, which I don't know if they're going to let the guy win, even if he does get the vote. I mean, it's clear that there's really nothing that they won't do to stop him.
2 impeachments, 4 indictments, and attempted murder. Like, that's a whole lot of effort.
I don't know
that anything like that has ever happened to
nothing like we've ever seen in our life. And why?
Right.
Why? I mean, we didn't have any new wars in 4 years. Okay. We had a amazing economy. Inflation was incredibly low. Peace in the Middle East. Dude, he brought the Jews and the Gentiles together. Okay. I mean, they signed the Abraham Accord. That never has been done. He crossed the demilitarized zone and shook Kim Jong-un's hand.
No, he got ridiculed for it. I'm like, guys, this should go down in history.
Yeah.
And people are talking crap about it for it. I was like, shut up.
He had the CCP.
That is the first step to a better relationship. Yeah. And they're like, oh my God, he shook hands. It's
right. Like, there's a lot of money in war.
That's right.
A lot of money in war. Okay. Raytheon, Lockheed, all those companies, they want to pump all that stuff out. Okay. And I get it. If I was one of those guys in those companies, I'd probably want that too.
No.
Thank God I'm not.
No, I know.
I couldn't be.
I know.
It's against my.
That's a sinister thing. What's funny is Dick Cheney comes out and he's just coming on here. So I'm like, that's the biggest red flag that you could have, having freaking Mr. Warmonger Dick Cheney endorse you.
They chastised him as a warmonger for the past 25 years. Yeah. Now they're flapping like seals. They're clapping like seals because he endorsed her.
Right. That's nothing to be proud of. If he backs you, to me, that reveals all of the.
Yeah, that's it. That's the telltale.
It's anyway. All right, my friend. Well, listen, I have exceeded our normal time, but it was well worth it.
Good stuff.
Good stuff, man. Well, listen.
Yeah,
for being here, brother.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, man.
Oh, absolutely. I'm glad you came.
I wish you all the success in the world, and hopefully you'll come be on my show soon as well.
Yeah, I'd be honored, man. Anytime.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Good. Yes, sir. All right, and thank you everybody for joining us. This has been Hines on Air. If you haven't, please subscribe below and follow us. We'll have new episodes with more leaders like Red here. Lots of exciting stuff. So look forward to seeing you. Thanks for joining us.